Good night, everyone. How you guys doing tonight on this beautiful night? Shout out to everyone. Shout out to all the people out there, man. Blessing, love to all, man. As we know, as we know, we hit in 2000, 2025 garden season, which is coming up in the spring. Hold on. Which is coming up in the spring. Yes, which is coming up in the spring. And right now, I know a lot of people getting busy in the garden. I know a lot of people, I'm sure some people start setting seed. Also, there's a lot of people doing overwintering. So I know you guys doing your thing. Shout out to each and every one of you. Blessings to all. All right. So this is 2000 garden season, guys. What is your, you know, when I do gardening, I like to plan ahead. I think when I plan ahead, everything comes easier for me when I plan ahead. I map it out, I plan ahead because I believe in a successful garden. I believe in always have a garden luscious and green, and the production as well is very important. So I plan ahead. And for the new gardeners out there, man, listen me guys. Gardening could be challenging from time to time. It could be challenging from dealing with pests. It could be challenging dealing with soil. It could be challenging dealing with shade over your garden. It could be challenging in many ways. But you don't want to give up. You know, you want to learn from your mistake because every year you garden, you're gonna learn new things. And by learning new things, you will get better. So I want you guys to, for everyone who watching this video, I want you guys to leave in the comment section and let me know if you already preparing for 2025 garden season. I want you to tell me, and you could also tell me what are you, some of the things you're doing, some of the things you're planting. This is what I'm asking from you guys. I want we correspond with each other. All right. So what are you already start planning your garden season? What is your plan? What are you growing this year? What new are you growing? What you will not grow this garden season? What are some of your challenges in garden season? I would like to know that because I'm trying to create something that we all can learn from each other. It's all about learning from each other. That's what it's about. Because sometimes when you look at things, man, when you look at things, we realize how important information is. and we realize how surviving the survival, surviving the situation, we understand how important that is. So we just want to reach out and have conversation about gardening from time to time because we have a serious garden season approaching very soon. In the next 2 months, garden season gonna be in rage, So we wanna have conversation, go right down to this whole garden season. We wanna have live where we could have conversation, where people could ask questions. If you have a challenging, you're going through a challenging season, you could reach out, you could ask questions. We also would like people from different zones to share their opinion because this is how you learn. You learn from your zone. People who growing in your zone, you could learn from them because if they growing something and it doing well in their zone, maybe it might just work for you. So these are the things that's important because you want to make sure that you grow things that grows in your zone, which is really important. When come to me, I grow anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Even though you tell me it's tropical and you cannot grow it in my zone, I still gonna try. I still gonna try because all I need, if it's a tropical plant, what I need, I wanna make sure I have enough time to grow this plant. If say for instance the plant takes 6 months to produce, and I know I have 6 months growing season, I'm gonna plant it. Why I'm gonna plant it? Because once you have enough time, and this is important, guys, anything you grow, make sure you have enough time to grow the plant, whether it's vegetables, whatever it is. Because you don't want to grow something and then the frost, the winter come on you, and then you can't get any harvest. So you want to make sure you grow stuff that can give you multiple harvests in your zone. So in your zone is important. It's very important to really reach out to people in your zone. That and so it's supposed to be a place where you could ask question and answer, and that's what I'm trying to create. A place where we can ask question and get answer. From time to time, we do open panel. An open panel is when different gardeners come together and share their knowledge, and there's people can join and people gonna listen because I'm telling you, it's really getting harder and harder as we can see, and we need food. We have to eat, and if you grow in your own food, you could save a few dollars. All right, so let's work on this, man. Let's yes, let's work on this, man. Let's try to encourage more people to get into the garden. Let's try to encourage more people. Learning these skills is very important because, I did a live the other night and I was showing some videos where manpower, manpower in very soon, manpower not gonna be needed much at all. Manpower will not be needed much at all. Why I'm saying that is because the amount of things that robot do today, the amount of things that machine do today, I'm trying to figure out what will be the plan for humanity for the future. I'm trying to figure out what is the plan for real, because for what I'm seeing, guys, for what I'm seeing, I'm gonna try to learn as much as I can. I'm gonna try to grow my food because I'm telling you, if you look, man, the more you look, the more things getting expensive. Very soon, I don't know, man. I don't know, but I think this garden season could be uh, an excited garden season. I do believe so. I believe we're gonna get some challenging weather. I also believe we're gonna be dealing with some bugs, some different type of bugs, because the truth is, for the last 2 to 3 years, I've seen bugs I never seen before, and some of them could be very invasive. Some of them goes on the fruit trees and just eat the blossom. Just keep eating the blossom, and you wouldn't be able to get nothing, no fruits. You see, so now we got to figure out natural ways of how to get these pests off our plant. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of bugs in your garden that's well needed in your garden. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of bugs we try to get rid of that's well needed in our garden. Well needed. Some of them protect our garden. Some of them trace off unwanted bugs from out of our garden, because I'm telling you, some of these bugs that comes in our garden, they come to destroy. You understand? And when I say destroy, I don't mean like destroy, but because they got to eat, right? They got to eat. But I'm just saying, when they come with vengeance. They're eating everything. Even deers. I wasn't seeing deers before around my garden, eating out of my garden. I never see them physically before until this year. I saw a rabbit before, but I never saw deer. But no, I'm actually seeing deer. Why I believe these deer is coming, I believe so much trees being cut in down, like to build houses and warehouse and these things. So I believe that they're them finding, moving to different places. So now you're finding them in right close in you're seeing them in the road now. You're seeing them in your backyards. So it's getting challenging. So it's not just the squirrel, it's not just the deer. We also have so much other plants, so much other bugs that eats up our flowers. Probably, sometimes our flowers, our when the fruit trees push out. Because I have a mango tree, and last year the amount of bugs was on the mango tree is like, I don't know. And the crazy thing, I never saw these bugs before, but so much of them was on that mango, and I thought they was pollinators. But when I do look, when I look, I realize, wait, all the flowers is falling off. It's just a bare empty limb is left, is there. So someone told me you could get someone told me just get a bowl with soap water and just get a piece of stick and tap the limb and let them drop down in the bowl of soap water. Don't throw the soap water in the tree, on the plant. Just hold it underneath and just shake the limb and let it drop in the bowl. So it's a lot of, I believe it's a lot of these things we're gonna be facing as gardeners. We're gonna be facing a lot. At something let me tell you something I used to use. And it works really good enough. It works really good. This is like it works. You see, for instance, like you have cabbage, you have broccoli, these type of plants, collard greens, and them worms eating them out. You know what I used to use years ago? I don't use anything now because I have a lot of boards around and the boards just feed off the worms then. And the eggs them, I have a lot of boards around, so the boards feed from them. But what I used to use years ago was vinegar and water. Vinegar and water works really, really, really good on your plants. But you cannot just go and you have to dilute it really well. All right, you can't too strong, because if it's too strong, it could burn up your plant. So you got to be careful of that. But I used to use that years ago, and it really works. So if you're going through these problems, because I know people need to eat, and yes, we want the bugs them to eat. Yes, we want everything to feed. But the thing about it, if you allow them, allow these cabbage worms, just allow them in your cabbage patch. Allow them for like a week in your cabbage patch, and you're gonna see when you go back if you have any leaf on your cabbage and them. No, they're gonna eat down everything. So even though you want them to eat, you can't allow them to eat everything. So these are things you gotta look at. If you have cabbage and these bugs is tearing down your cabbage, the most natural thing I can say use is vinegar. And these days you could make your own vinegar. People use their own vinegar these days. All right, so you can make your own vinegar and dilute it and spray it. Instead of, a lot of people recommend a lot of things from the store. Well, my thing is, I don't know, guys. I'm kind of funny with what I eat and what I put on my plant. Because one thing you got to understand, and you got to think, because there's a lot of information floating around. But when you get these information, you have to sit down and think. No, you spraying, you have collard greens, right? Collard greens, you love your collard greens, you have lettuce, you have your cabbage, you have all these things. Your kale, but the worms them love them as well. So they feed from them. And then you just buying these things and just spraying. You don't even know what's in these things. And you just spraying. because you try and get rid of the whatever, the worms them, right? But no, you gotta remember, what you gotta remember, plant absorb things, right? Even through their leaf, sometimes even through their stem, they absorb. So you spraying these things is actually getting into your plants. You see what I'm saying? You kill. You might want to eat some fresh kale, but you don't spray them down so much. So this is why I try to do natural stuff. And most of the time, I don't trust a lot of things. So I prefer I make it. But the thing about it is, I used to get a lot of problem with my cabbage, with the worms, and them times I really was using vinegar. But now I don't because so much birds around. If you notice in the background, you see how my garden, that's my garden right there. You see how all these sticks, all the sticks, them right. I love to create my garden like that because the birds come and land on these sticks. And when they, remember, you got to remember springtime. This is when birds start making young one. All is spring. So when the bird's there, the bird's gonna pick the eggs that the butterfly lay. You're gonna pick the worms. So it helps your garden. It helps your garden. So it's eliminate the spraying. And this is the thing too. You have to know these bugs. We call them bugs. But you gotta know them and you gotta know their purpose. Right? Because a lot of them make things easier in your garden. Because when you got to understand, many of these pests or whatever, they don't walk together. Every one of them looking for food. That's what they're looking for. And there's some of them who feed off, like the spider. The spider in your garden. The spider in your garden. What the spider do? He come and feed from the bugs them that comes in your garden. You see, we know that for a fact because we see where the spider created web all over. You could see, and we also see where the spider catch bugs and have them in their web. So we know that. So now when we see the spider, that's why you got to do your research on, different type of spider. So when you see them, you know the one that might be harmful and you know the one that might be, friendly, just looking for food. Because if you have spider and you have birds, which the birds sometimes take the spiders, but if you have these things around your garden, they help eliminate the spraying. Hey, Godits, how you doing? Blessing, sis. Blessing to you. Good to see you. Yes, yes. So I try to operate my garden in a way that it eliminates spraying. It's eliminate. Yes, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yes, it's eliminate a lot of spraying. It eliminate a lot of chemical. That's the way I do my garden. I walk through the garden, I pull up the weeds with my hands. I just can't do it. I can't see myself doing it and then still come back and eat that food. I cannot see myself. So I prefer to take my time and walk even though I gotta walk hard. If you look, some of my video when they watch my hand them white. Because I'm always doing something. You know what I'm saying? Because I cannot spray my food with these things or put these things around my room, around the room, knowing I have to eat it. I just can't do it. When I know a different way, there's a different way you could do it without adding these things wrong apply. Just check my garden, guys. Always luscious and green. And how? Natural, without going and buying anything. Just natural. You would not believe the surprise a natural garden can give you. When I say a natural garden, what I mean? Not using all different type of stuff that's out there and things that people recommending. I keep saying, guys, people recommend a lot of product out there and they don't even use them. They don't have no experience about the product. Sometimes they just heard about it and they just talk about it. If I got to talk about a product, it's because I know about this product. All right, but you don't hear me talk about any product unless I make it. Because when I make it, I know what's inside of it. You know, a lot of people could tell you, okay, like some people say, okay, organic, what's inside it? If it's organic, what's inside it? Some of them say 75% organic. Okay, so what's the other 25%? What's in it? You see, so these are the things I can't trust. So I know better. You see, when you know better, you do better. So for the new gardeners, there's a lot of new gardeners out there who really trying and who really looking for information. Like I always say, find people who could guide you where you need to go. Find the people. If you as a person that you want to garden and you want to garden a certain way, find the people who could guide you there. I cannot, I'm being honest, I cannot sit down and listen to a person speaking about gardening and then not gardening. You see what I'm saying? I can't. Because you only could speak to me about gardening if you're doing it. You see what I'm saying? When you're doing it, you learn. You grab information. Information comes to you because you learn it. If you're not doing gardening, I can't take your word. You see what I'm coming from? So that's me. I just can't sit down and listen to someone if they're not gardening. What kind of garden do I do? Well, the type of gardening I do, I grow different type of food. Will and Smalley asks, what kind of garden do you do? Well, if you really want to see what kind of garden I do, you really will have to go and watch my videos then. And you're going to get a better idea because my videos speak the same language I'm speaking. Looking at my videos speak the same language I'm speaking. I only grow my food natural. I only use the resources around, which is the leaf, the weeds that grows up in the garden. Sometimes, a tree trunk that break down and turn to natural compost. These are the type of stuff I use. So if I'm answering your question, right, is I do natural gardening. I observe the forest. I observe nature. Hey, you girl, Lala, what's up? How you doing? All right. Wally Land Small, he say, I just found you and will check you out, but don't want to me. Yes, you could always go back and check the video. Yes, thank you, guys, thank you. Yes, I first time in your life. Okay, all right. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. Yes. And don't forget to hit the like button, guys. All right. I appreciate it. Yes. So I garden. I don't go to the store because around me, I have the leaf, I have the tree. Sometimes, sometimes I watch a tree break out the root, fall on the ground, and just watch it there for years, break down to nothing. Appreciate it, sis. Appreciate it. Just watch it break down to nothing. Then I take that and I trade in my around my plants there. I also put leaf in piles, just pile up the leaf them. I have piles all over the place. I have pile of leaf. I have places where I pile up leaf. And that pile is about 10 years now. So I could just go in this pile and just scrape out compost from underneath, rich compost from underneath. So that's basically the type of gardening I do. I love to grow natural because I've seen it and it works well. Okay, your girl say, yes, I love the idea of planting food natural as well. Yes, I think it's the greatest thing you could do. I really do. Because the taste is different. The smell is different. And this is ways you get the nutrients, the vitamins, the this is ways of getting that out your food. Because you're growing them natural. I also make my own liquid manure. I also make my own liquid manure. Yes, the taste is different. Definitely. Yeah, I also make my own liquid manure, which is a great thing as well. I also did my last live before this one. I was talking about if it worked using liquid manure. Well, yes, it worked. I think it's a good idea. But it's what you put together. Because I believe, my opinion, this is my opinion. If you mix in liquid compost, okay, all right, let me see where Wally say, Willan say, I just look at your channel in a different window. Excellent. I also go organic with a deep mix bulk. Thank you. Well, that's a good idea. You see, the deep, you know, my soil was red clay. My soil was natural red clay, guys. But you see, the same thing I know I was talking about. You are right about taste and smell of the food. Yes, it's way different. Growing natural, the smell is the. You know what? When you're tomato producing, the smell, you naturally walking through your garden, and the smell of the tomato is so strong. Your peppers, you walk into your garden and the scent of your peppers, them lighten up the garden. Yes, naturally lighten up is different. And why I share this information, this is for people to have this experience. The taste is different, is naturally different. Yes, so when you talk about mulching, like Willan said, deep mulching is something really is excited. Mulching is excited because some people. Let me tell you about these mulch, right? Mulch change the texture of your soil. It kind of change it because, say for instance, you have a hard clay soil. By the mulch adding the leaf and all these things together, when it starts blending with the clay soil, it's actually changing. It blends in, so now it's not clanging together anymore. You know, like the red clay when the sun beat it, how it just clamped together. That mulch changed that, and also mulching also save water. It kind of keep your soil soft. It's still longer for the sun to dry out. So it's less water. Guys, I grow in-grown. I also do container garden, but I do in-grown. Most. And I don't wet my plants there. Doesn't matter, don't care how hot the sun is. I do not wet my plants there. Okay, let me see. I will be doing things different in my garden this year. Yes, mulch locks in moisture, definitely. Yes, yeah, girl, Lala, I was watching one of your video. Your garden look nice, man. Your garden look nice. I love to see people doing gardening. I love to see people when they have the passion. You see, when you have the passion, you could see. Yes, I love to see that, man. I love to see that. See the passion. Yes, I love to see it, man. Because you got to think about it, man. This is your food. This is what you eat. Think about it. You're welcome. The mulch also keep the soil temperature low and protect the roots. Definitely. Definitely. That is true. That is true. Because I use over the years, every 2 years, sometimes I add leaf, like in my raised bed in the ground, right? Because I don't want the mold to take over the soil. So I add maybe every 2 weeks, 2 years, I add like leaf in my raised bed or mix it in with the soil. And I'm telling you right now, I don't wet my plants. Every summer, matter of fact, every summer I go through drought and I still don't wet my plant. My plant will survive 6 weeks, 7 weeks without water and sun hot every day. And I'm gonna give you an idea of that too. Planting deep. I believe in planting deep. I believe in planting deep. Why do I plant deep? Because when you plant deep, most of my plants, it doesn't matter which plant it is. Most of them, I plant them maybe 12 inches deep. It doesn't matter what plant. Could be cabbage, pepper. It doesn't matter what kind of plant. I plant them 12 inches deep, down in the hole. Why I do that? For one of the same reason. No water. Because hear me now. One thing we know. And then you have to do these things. You have to learn these things, because what if you really don't have no water? How are you going to grow your food? What if you don't have no water? How are you going to grow your food? Well, I'm going to give you an idea. Plant at least 10 to 12 inches deep. So say, for instance, now, you ain't get no rain for a month. Your plant will survive. You know why? Hear why. Because it takes time for the sun. Where the sun penetrates? The sun penetrates the surface. That's what the sun penetrates. So every day it penetrates the surface and it drying out. It drying out. So it drying out. But it takes time for the sun to get down 12 inches deep. It takes a lot of time for that. You see where I'm coming from? It takes time. So meanwhile, you ain't getting no rain for 6 weeks. Your plant is still getting moisture because the sun ain't reached down 10 inches as yet. The sun is still penetrating the top, but your plant is still getting its moisture. I did a whole video with this demonstration one time. I did a whole video with this, showing it was like 2 months no rain. I'm digging, going down, and I'm showing, watch this. You see, I'm showing this where it dry out and down to the bottom, moisture. Thank you, yeah, girl, thank you. Deep is good, but thick mulch keep the sun from burning the soil. Yes, thick mulch, yes, it helps. It helps prevent the sun from burning roots. Because you know, but deep as well. Deep also help because the sun does not get down there. And remember, your plant is not getting water. But down to that 10, 12 inches, the moisture is still there. So the plant is still getting moisture within that time. But now, say for instance, you plant 6 inches deep, 5, 6 inches deep. Right? Now you remember, hear me out with this. Remember, when you plant 5, 6 inches deep, remember this, right? While the plant growing, what happening? It pushing new roots. You see? While the plant growing, it pushing new roots. It pushing new roots. So say you plant 6 inches deep, the plant growing. This is why a lot of times, some people, when you look around their plants, you could naturally see the new white roots them on top of the surface. In my garden, you don't see that. Why you don't see that? Because I plant them deep. Because I already know while they're growing, they push more roots. So you are awesome. I'm glad. Okay, let me see. Awesome information. So you are awesome. I'm glad I found your channel. Can't stay, but we'll stop. All right, thank you. Glad you passed by. I appreciate you. You could always come back. I go live very often, so you can always come back. Yes, thank you. Appreciate you, all right? Happy gardening too. Yes. Yes, so while the plant's growing, I'm going to drop the link if anyone want to come up and talk about gardening, all right? No. While the plants growing, we got to remember this. They push new roots. While the plant's growing, these are things I know, guys. I've seen these things for my own self. This is experience. Now, you plant 6 inches deep, 5 inches deep, where I see a lot of people do. The plant growing. While the plant growing, the plant push new roots to the top. Now, these roots is actually pushing themselves out the ground. Now, you got to find yourself, got to try to cover these roots. Now, these are the plants that the sun damage their roots from time to time. Why? Because their roots is on the surface. So if you ain't get no water for a month, the sun start drying up these roots. Then you realize your plants start drying up. The leaf them start to turn yellow because they're not getting no moisture. You plant them too much at the surface. But when you plant them 10 inches to 12 inches deep, even when they're growing, these baby roots still covered. You see where I'm coming from? And also, you stand a chance of getting a big root system. Why? Because it's under there, feeding from the nutrients, feeding from the mineral, even though it's not raining. The moisture is still there that is able to feed. Whether you understand, so this is why I always say plant 10 to 12 inches deep. This is the next thing again. No, if you trying, okay, in my garden, guys, I got 10 feet tall pepper tree, 8 feet tall, 7 feet tall, right? If you want to grow a 10 feet tall pepper tree, how deep you think you should plant it? Okay, all right. How deep you think you should plant a pepper tree if you want it to go 10 feet tall? 10 to 12 inches deep. Could you imagine you have a pepper tree and you only plant it 5 inches deep? Could you imagine when that start growing? You know what start happening? It start to fall out the root. Right? Because the weight of the tree is too heavy. Because why? The root supposed to be anchored in the soil. anchor, meaning even the wind blow it all it's gonna do is dance. You see where I'm coming from? Even the wind blow it gonna dance. Maybe he might break the limb, but it's not gonna break it out. It's not gonna break it down because it anchor. And like I'm saying, the more nutrients it get under the soil, is the more root it produce, is the more leaf it produce, the more it grow. So these things are very important, very important. And you know what some people say? Oh, well, you in this zone and you in that zone. Well, listen to me. I grow a 10-foot pepper tree, plant it in April, and by July, it's already 10 foot tall. July, August, it's already 10 foot tall, right? That's how much months. April, May, June, July. You see where I'm coming from? So, once you know, it doesn't matter which zone you're in. Once you're able to get 5-6 months growing season, you could do these things as well. It's just things you have to do. You just got to do certain things. You have to know what these plants like and what made them grow and what made them happy and what they don't like. People, these are the things you got to know. This is how you become a master in things. You have to know. You got to pay attention. You got to study in any skill. You got to pay attention. You got to observe. You got to try. You got to see what work and what don't work. These are the things you got to do. All right? I was talking the last time before in my last life. I was talking about the reason why I think liquid compost is good. Now, like I'm saying, a liquid compost should full of the things the plant like. You see what I'm coming from? 1 second, guys. Yes, guys, the liquid compost should have what the plant love. You see what I'm saying? It's not just liquid compost. Oh, I make some liquid compost. The liquid compost should have the things that the plant love in order for this plant to produce the way you would like it to produce. All right? Because you could mix up anything. Now, the liquid compost is something faster. It's faster for the plants to basically intake it than if you put compost, manure around the plant, like the dry manure around the plant. When you add the manure around the plant, what it need the rain or water to turn it into liquid. So when it turn it into liquid, this is when the plant feed. Because you know the plant can't eat the compost you throw around the plant. It got to turn into liquid. So when it turn into liquid, this is when the plant getting the nutrients out of it, the minute what it want out of it. When it turn, when the rain come, or you wet it. So now, if you could figure out what to put together to give you what the plant need, you see what's going on there? Because the plant will be getting it directly. From the time you pour it in, the plant will be taking it because it's liquid. Water. Water have to. Water. This is the importance of water. Water have to be. Liquid have to be involved for the plant to intake. It's got to be in a liquid form. So if you understand what to use and put in that compost, I'm telling you, your plants them will fly. Your plants them will fly. So liquid compost this is my opinion, guys. This is my opinion. It works faster. It works faster, and the best time. I'm gonna ask this question, guys. When is the best time to add compost around your plant? Compost, manure, whatever. When is the best time? Does anyone want to answer the question? Is anyone feel like answering the question? When is the best time to add compost to your plant? Okay, no one want to answer. All right, I'll tell you. New moon. New moon. On the new moon, best time to add compost to your plant. You know why? Could anyone tell me why? Could anyone tell me why on new moon is the best time to add compost or liquid whatever to feed your plant? Okay. You know why? I want you to check from now on. Every new moon, every time new moon hit, you're gonna get some rain. Yeah. So if you know new moon coming up and it's very close, and you add in dry manure around your plant, you should start putting that because some rain is about to come. And when the rain come, like I know I was mentioning, this is when the plant feed. If you notice, the plants love rain, their leaf love rain, their leaf love the rain, but their roots also love the rain because this is feeding time. This is when they drink the water, they intake the water, and this is when it intake the nutrient. So sometimes if the soil is moist, full of moisture, the plant, this is what I was telling you earlier, when I say plant it deep. When the plant is full of moisture, when the moisture is down there, it's still getting its nutrients and it's still gonna grow. Even though the sun is blazing the heat, the leaf, you goes out, in the middle of the day and the plants them down like this. But guess what? In the night, they back up. You know why? Because the sun was only penetrating the body, the leaf, but not the root. If the sun, if that type of heat penetrate a plant root for so long, that plant might just dry out. But once the root is being protected and still able to get its moisture, its nutrients, its mineral, its carb, what it needs, it's still gonna survive and do well too. And do really well. These, this is how I get success of my garden, guys. I study my plants and I study gardening. This is how I get success, and this is how I know so much too. And I'm not gonna say I know everything, but I know a lot. How? Experience. This is what I was saying. I cannot sit down and listen to an apostle who don't do gardening, who did not pick up the seed, who did not plant, who did not dig a hole to put something in the hole. Tell me about gardening. No, because gardening is something you got to be into to understand. You could read as much as you want. You could read all you want. You could Google all you want. Until you're not in that field, digging and planting and sweating, I can't listen to you because you don't have the experience. And you don't have to have 10 years experience. You could be in a garden 3 months and able to teach someone something. You know why? Because you experience something. You learn something. Why? How did you learn? Because you was in the field, digging, planting, taking care. So you see. Gardening is a special thing, man. Just try to reap the rewards out of it. The reward is great. The reward is amazing. Okay, guys, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. If anyone wanna come up and talk about gardening, share their views. You could also talk about your experience. You could also talk about what you're planning on growing this year. You could also talk about things you will not grow. If you have any question about gardening, you could also feel free to come up and ask about gardening. Yes. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys saving your seeds. Okay, all right, no, all right. Okay, I'm just gonna run a little video. Let me show you guys the production from my garden because you know sometimes talking alone, you sit down and you talk, and no, and you can't show. No, I like to show something. Yes, guys. So now, guys, this is this is our harvest right here. This is our bell pepper harvest. This was in the fall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, like 23 bell peppers we harvest, and this tree is still loaded with bell peppers. Now, guys, what we're gonna be doing now? Yeah, this was November. Pumpkin. No, this pumpkin is not fully well mature. Usually, when you see the stalk start turning brown, you know that's when it mature. But this is pretty well mature. Okay? Pretty well mature. So what we're gonna be doing now, we're gonna be making laps now. No, we ain't gotta worry about the vines anymore because okay, allow me to run the video. So guys, yes, it allowing me to eat buffing. But yeah, what I'm saying is you gardening is not a hard it could be challenging and you just got to understand, especially for the new gardeners, you just got to understand success not gonna just come overnight. All right, always open to learn, try different things and see what works for you. Success is not gonna come overnight, and you never know. You might just plant a garden and it do really well without failure. You might just plant a garden for the first time and it turn out well without failure. When I say without failure, meaning very successful. So just this is 2025, guys, and if you never garden before, I think you should start growing some food if you have the space. Grow some herbs if you have some space. If your space is limited, grow something in containers. All right? I know it's late. What time is it now? Yes, it's pretty late. But I'm going to be doing these live from time to time. Most of the time, I'm going to be starting like 10 o'clock, maybe 2, 3 times a week until garden season over. All right? Because I'm trying to encourage people. And guys, if you did not like, subscribe to this channel, feel free to subscribe. If you subscribe and you didn't hit the notification bell, feel free to hit the notification bell because we will be gardening and we will be posting as much as we can because we're trying to encourage others to do the same and experience the greatness, experience eating healthy, experience eating what you grow and not what you buy. It's a great, great experience to see. You sow the seed germinate, you care for the seedlings, you transplant it out in the ground, watch it grow, nourish it, watch it grow into a beautiful plant and able to turn itself into food for you. It's one of the most amazing journey you could ever behold. It's an experience that everyone should have. Growing something, growing the food you love, and enjoying it. Thank you guys for coming out again tonight. I appreciate each and every one. Thank you for hitting the like button. Appreciate it. Thanks everyone for coming out tonight. I hope to see you guys maybe tomorrow night. All right? Thank you guys. Have a blessed and wonderful night. Peace.